Thank you, Dr. Handler. My name is Heuermann. I'm the director of OSF Innovation Studio, and today I want to share a story about how we try to solve a $5 million problem by leaning into something that's deceptively simple. Personalization is more than just like about the technology. It's about empathy, it's about training, it's about clarity. Start with some setup. Colon cancer is the second. Around too much. Colon cancer is the second leading cause of cancer-related deaths in the U.S. with a generalized risk of about 1 in 20 people. But here's the striking part, right? If caught early, 90% chance of a 5-year survival. Good shape, right? 90% chance of a 5-year early. Thinking, not bad. But only 1 in 5 individuals between the ages of 45 and 55 are up to date on their screenings. Like, that's our signal, right? This is an area where we're spending some time. Put some attention to this. From a process standpoint, we went through our steps. What does this look like? You know, patients are contacted more than 30 days. We provide clear instructions. They should feel confident in their experience, both from our side and from the staff side. Like, we thought we've got the boxes checked. But the reality is we're looking at something very different, you know. We're looking at that annual revenue loss of almost $5 million from cancellations and no-shows. That's stretching up to 15%. But then let's also look at this from another angle, right? Some of you might have an emotional response to this picture, like hearing the words, along to your devices, trying to plan this with these static materials that are just clearly not written for me. They're written to solve the problem. This voice we heard over and over throughout. So when you compare the reality that we thought we all knew, like our assumptions about the situation, with what we heard from the voices of the patient, the voices of the mission partners who are living this day in and day out, strikingly different, right? Maybe heard about this 2 days before. I didn't realize I couldn't drive myself. I worked in healthcare for 15 years. They're like, I'll just take an Uber. Oh, maybe rideshare services to go to procedure. You know that, right? Like, I've lived this. And I didn't. So, what does the current state look like? It's what you all assume it looks like. It's a stack of papers. Just like sit with yourself, go through the medications on, do it yourself. Right? We're bombarding patients with information. It's not staged, right? The right information at the right time. That's what we kept saying to each other as we were ideating around this. Not earlier, not better, just tailored. So this is where Innovation Studio comes in, right? Our approach is grounded in action, discernment, and just the right amount of research. It's about thoughtful iteration, not perfection. You know when you've heard enough to act. And that's what we search for. Where is that moment? We have conviction. We need to act. But how do we get to personalization? So how do we create a personalized experience? It's not as basic as like picking your own avatars and your own colors. It's remember what I need and omit what I don't. Make it for me. That is how you build that true comfort and trust. So what did we do? Now that we understand the problem, our teams within innovation transform this experience through what the easiest way to understand is like patient-centered design. We took the current guidance, that original guidance, and filtered it through so many persona lenses. How does this impact you? What do you hear from patients? How is this working for you? How can I redesign this to be yours? And the really cool part, and the part that I want to call out, is like we layered on our expertise with like creating that paginated experience where it's like page by page, the critical element that you needed to move forward. We weren't doing anything radical. How they wanted to interact with those we serve. Like, it's as simple as that. So what it looks like, right, is that clear, bite-sized instructions broken down in paginated formats instead of that 10-page guide, right? Like, I'm not playing detective through all this paperwork to figure out how to get to my procedure. So we then resolved, it resonated with the patient, delivered them to the right moments at up to 11 different points in time to walk them through the journey of patient prep. So how does AI come into this, right? We knew we wanted this to be a highly visually stimulating thing, but it had to be an experience as they worked through these things. I'm going to need a team of artists to create all of the images, all of the icons, all of this material to put inside of this application, right? And that's what we did. That is utilizing AI. Is we said, let me use this large language model, paginate this, or take this paginated information and refine it down to its most basic concepts, right? The most clear, the most basic language. But they're going to feed that to an image generation model. Then, you know what? We're going to feed whatever that image is back into the large language model and see if it gives me the same result. We're going to keep playing Pictionary between these two large language models, or the large language model and the image generation model, both one-to-one. There's no mistake, right? And what that gave us was a library of these visually beautiful images that would have taken 2-3 years ago, months and months and months to create just the images alone. We're done in these months. So like, what are the outcomes? Like through this like patient-centered design approach, we didn't revolutionize the entire experience. We augmented it. This wasn't just about aesthetics. It was about helping people feel like seen and understood and cared for. And like, so this is a piece from Innovation Studios. Like we believe that the conviction around a problem area will lead you to measurable outcomes. But we're starting to figure out that there's this middle spot here, right? It's that patient-centered design. And conviction around a problem, if you utilize patient-centered design, it will lead you to measurable outcomes. So fast journey, right? Pitching the idea to leaders in May of 24 to launching OSF My Visit Guide in March of 2025. We turned that insight into action in under a year. And then as of April 10th, we're seeing almost 49% engagement with this population group and under a 2% opt-out rate. Thank you.